Hello, this is Dr. Christy Patton-Lukes, a chemical engineering professor at Missouri S&T. In this video lesson, we're going to be looking at a water cooling tower sample problem. Let's read the problem statement together. A plant requires 15 kilograms per second of cooling water at 300 Kelvin to flow through its distillation equipment condensers. The water will leave the condensers at 318 Kelvin. It is planned to cool the water for reuse by contact with air in a countercurrent adiabatic cooling tower. So let's just comment really quickly on this. That means that this is the exit temperature for our cooling tower, and this is our inlet temperature for our cooling tower. Okay, so keep those things in mind. Now the temperature of the entering air is 303 Kelvin and the wet bulb temperature is 297 Kelvin. The air rate to be used is 1.5 times the minimum. Packing will be used for which KYA is expected to be 0.9 kilograms per cubic meter second if the liquid mass velocity is at least 2.7 kilograms per meter square second and the gas mass velocity is at least 2 kilograms per meter square second. We want to compute the dimensions of the packed tower and the makeup water requirement due to evaporation in the tower. And we have given information here, a curve fit for the enthalpy of the gas, C sub P, and heat of vaporization for our water. So the first step would be to plot the known values at the entry and exit for the air and water. So we have in our problem statement that the water is coming in at 300 Kelvin and is going to leave at 318 Kelvin. So we have those two numbers. We also know that the air is coming in at 303 Kelvin, but its saturation temperature, its wet bulb temperature is 297 Kelvin. And what that tells us is that if I looked at 297 Kelvin, that would be saturated air. And so this gives me the enthalpy of the inlet gas. So this is going to be H sub y. Therefore, this is my initial feed point for that. Now I need to come up with my exit conditions. And so from this, I'm going to be finding a point along this line here that is going to give me my minimum G and my actual G values. So let's look at those. I've marked our position for the air inlet and the water exit, and I've marked the temperature for the liquid exit. And what we want to do next is draw the line that creates a pinch. So this curve is going to actually come and reach a tangent at around this point. And so this point here is going to be my HY exit for the minimum. Okay? The slope of the line that I've just drawn there, and that's not very easy to read, so let me redo that in yellow. The slope, I measured that to be 7.17. And if I use that is equal to my liquid flow rate, not on a per area basis, but the actual liquid mass flow rate, L times C sub P over the gas. Now really these, in my terms, are going to be L times the surface, or not surface, cross-sectional area, S, And so they sort of disappear. But I can use this to figure out G minimum, again, times that cross-sectional area, because the G that we use in our other formulas is per unit area. And so the G minimum, using C sub P equal 4.187 and LS equal 15 kilograms per second, then G minimum is 8.755 kilograms per second. And G is going to be 1.5 times G minimum, or GS is 1.5 times G minimum times S, and this number is 13.133 kilograms per second. I can use that to draw the actual operating line. So if I do this with some algebra, what I found is that the exit enthalpy is 157 kilojoules per kilogram of dry air. And if I draw that in, it's at a point right there. And so my actual operating line is something more like that. Okay, so I have now an actual operating line. So the next question is, what diameter do I need to get a gas flow rate that's greater than or equal to 2 kilograms per square meter per second, and L greater than or equal to 2.7 kilograms per meter square second? So if I use that the cross-sectional area, whichever notation you wish, but I've been using this as S. S is pi over 4 d squared, and I can try different values of S and look at L is going to be my value of 15 over pi over 4 d squared, and G is equal to 13.133 over pi over 4 d squared, and play with the d values until you get both of these conditions to be true. So when I did this, what I found is that a diameter of 2.6 meters gave a cross-sectional area of 5.309 square meters. And based on this, L is 2.825 kilograms per meter square second, and G is equal to 2.474 kilograms per meter square second. So both are satisfied. The next question is, what is the height of a transfer unit in this case? Now, the formula, the way we have it from class, is that this is equal to G over the molecular weight of B, which is our air, kgAp. But in this case, our gas flow rate is in mass units, not in mole units. So therefore, I don't need this piece. And I don't have kGa, I was given kya. Now, from chapter 7, we've got conversions between these various k's, and what we see is that ky is equal to kg times the pressure. So therefore, the height of a transfer unit is our G in mass units divided by kya. In this case, 13.133. That is not the one I want. I want G. Okay, 2.474 kilograms per meter square second divided by kya, which was given in the problem statement as 0.9 kilograms per meters cubed second. And so we end up with an answer of a height of a transfer unit is 2.75 meters. And notice that, yes, I'm left with everything canceling except for meters. So there's my height of a transfer unit. Next, I need to figure out the number of transfer units. And the way this is done is by integrating from my starting value of h, which is about 70.9, to my final value, 156.96, dH over h star minus h. So what this is I'm taking the height differences between here and here at various cuts. Okay, so that's my height difference there, and I'm doing this for changes in h sub y. So I set this up to do Simpson's rule, and I did Simpson's rule with 50 points. Which I realize is probably overkill, but doing that, what I got is that the number of transfer units, the integral, is 5.8578. And I will put a copy of my file for that in Canvas for you. The volume of packing required is simply going to be the total height of packing, which is the height of a transfer unit times the number of transfer units, or 2.75 times 5.8578. And so the height is 16.1 meters. The volume is the cross-sectional area times the height. And so I'm going to require 85.5 cubic meters of packing. The final question is how much makeup water will be required. This is actually a really important part of these problems because the entire process is based on evaporation of water. So therefore you need to be adding fresh water so that we can remain at steady state. Fortunately, we can do this using a simple energy balance. So the energy change of the air is just the enthalpy at the exit minus the enthalpy at the inlet. And that came out to negative 86.08 kilojoules per kilogram of dry air. And multiplying by our flow rate, our delta H is 1,130 kilowatts, okay, and that's negative. This is of the air. Delta H for the water is simply the opposite of that. And we can estimate this by taking the flow rate of water that is being evaporated, so this is the evaporation rate really, times the heat of vaporization. Heat of vaporization in this case is 2502.3 kilojoules per kilogram. And if I use this to solve for the evaporation rate, I find that I get 0.4518 kilograms per second. And if I look at this as a ratio to the original liquid flow rate given, what you see is that this is 3% of the water evaporates. And that's a pretty typical number. You would expect it to be 2 to 5%. So this concludes this example lesson. Thank you very much for your time.